here. I'm a graduate student here at Purdue University, and today we'll be having a couple of series. I believe we'll be having 3 speakers today, one from the US, one from Canada, and also an Erasmus Mundus speaker. And we'll be starting with the first speaker, who is from USA, and generally they'll be talking to you about like basically everything you need to know about applying for scholarship, but in the geomatics domain. And we would be starting with the first speaker, Ismail Olani. He's also a graduate student here at Purdue University. He's doing his graduate degree in civil engineering, and I believe he has a lot to share with us today. Ismail Olani, can you turn on your camera? I don't know if he's in the chat.
Good. Okay.
Yes, please, let's just start, because we are supposed to start by 10:05 and we are trying to, by 3:05, and we are trying to keep with time. You have between 3:05 to 3:40 to 4:30 p.m. To speak. Thank you.
Okay. Am I allowed to share my screen?
I think there are people that will help. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. Can you see my screen? Hello everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see you.
Yeah, can see your screen.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We can.
Okay. As the moderator stated, I'll be talking about A to Z of Geomatics Scholarship applications here in the US. Okay, this is a brief about me. I have a national diploma and bachelor's degree from Surveying and Geomatics departments at Federal School of Surveying and University of Lagos, Nigeria. I'm currently a master's student here in Purdue, and I really love geospatial intelligence. And aside that, I love languages a lot, and I'm really interested in helping everyone navigate through the application steps to apply to different programs in the US. So the overview of my talk today, why the USA, why study in the USA, what are the funding opportunities available for everyone, and what are the types and how can you assess them? The application requirements, what do you need to apply to schools in the US? The timeline for application, we all know that schools resumes different periods and they accept applications over different times too. So you need to know when do you want to apply. We'll be talking about that. How to mail PIs, prospective professors, or how to make professors, just see that you need formats. We'll be covering that too, and generally packaging your documents. How do you package that, and more tips on how this is done. So starting out, why study in the USA? Here in the US, we have numerous universities. We have more than 4,000 universities here in the US. Studying in the US, you would have opportunity to learn from top professors in various fields, and you have access to world-class education, I would say quality education. So opportunities, there are numerous opportunities for geomatics graduates here in the US. Are you a surveyor? Are you a GIS analyst? Are you a programmer? Are you a geospatial software developer? There are lots of opportunities for you here in the US. Also in the US, they have different areas of research compared to some countries or our country back in Nigeria that we have just very few professors working in different areas. So here in the US, we have diverse research opportunities such as GIS, remote sensing, geodesy, photogrammetry, civil engineering, hydrography, ocean mapping, ocean engineering, geomatics, and all, spatial engineering, and all. Also here in the US, when you graduate, you get opportunity to work for some time when you graduate. So within that period, you might get a very good job, a very good offer. And also, if you want to stay in academia too, studying here in the US will put you in line to access such opportunities. So there are lots of funding from the government, national body, and all that they are really investing. They are really investing a lot when it comes to research here in the US. So US is a place to be as geomatics graduates. Also, cultural diversity, because US has world-class education, we have students from different parts of the world here to study in the US. So you tend to meet people from different continents, and that way you expand your network. So I think that's one of the reasons why I can convince you that US is a place to be. Funding opportunities, there are different kinds of funding opportunities available in the US. Some are teaching assistantships, research assistantships, fellowships, other options such as graduate professional assistants, graduate service assistants, and all. This teaching assistantship, what you basically do is that, here in the US, they have lots of students in university generally, and most of them are undergrads, and most departments require some graduate students that have some experience to teach this undergrad how to do some stuff. And as surveyors, as we know that with the training that we've had previously, we can use different kinds of equipment, we can use different kinds of softwares. All of this will come in very handy when you apply to your program and they want to assign you this kind of teaching assistantship role, because they know that Total Station, you can do it, GPS, you can do it, ArcGIS, CAD softwares, you have numerous experiences in this area. These are stuff that you need to teach to the undergrad. Trust me, it's very easy and it's very interesting. The research assistantship too, this is awarded by professors. It depends on the kind of funding they have at the moment. So professors might be working in different areas, and it is if the professor identifies that this guy has some skills that I really need for my research, then you'll be hired for it. And also, not that most professors need someone that's a bit like knows everything. They need just someone that's teachable, someone that could learn, but then they don't want someone that doesn't know anything in code. So research assistantship is that, and fellowship is awarded by the university. So for fellowship, you don't need to do anything per se, just focus on your research. You're just like a self-funded student. Just see it as in Nigeria that we attend universities and we just had to pay for our school fees, and we had no obligation to work for any professor or anyone. That's how fellowship is. Other options like graduate professional assistants, maybe you are working in the office, maybe in international office, you are like at the front desk, attending to people's questions and all. With this, you also learn some office skills and all. All of these kind of opportunities comes with tuition waiver. You're not going to pay school fees, you get monthly stipend, and yeah, your insurance is subsidized. So that way, it's like a win-win. You are not literally not paying for anything. So now talking about the application requirements, what do you need to apply to graduate programs in the US? So standardized tests. This can't be overemphasized because there are different kinds of standardized tests. But for geomatics domain, most schools would ask you for GRE or TOEFL, IELTS or Duolingo. GRE generally an English test. So the thing is, for GRE, I myself, I wrote GRE and I wrote TOEFL. I wrote Duolingo too, but sometimes schools will tell you that they are waiving this test, and most times people even send mail to schools that I want this test waived for me so I can finish my application and stuff like that. Fine, school waive it, but then you need to ask yourself a question: what do I need? Do I need admission only, or do I need admission and funding? Sometimes schools will tell you that we are waiving this stuff, and trust me, they are waiving it. But sometimes schools will tell you they are not waiving it, but then if you ask them, they can waive it for you. Trust me, it won't really go so well for your application, because if they have like thousands of applicants and they are looking for a way to streamline the list, you might not be on a good position when they are selecting their top candidates for admission and funding. For TOEFL exam is just English test. IELTS is English, Duolingo is English. These tests are so important because if you are going to be a teaching assistant, you will be teaching in English. And forget that we are from Nigeria, that we are colonized by the British, that we speak English. The fact that we speak the language doesn't make us a native speaker. So sometimes even here, that even if you are talking to students here, you have to talk very slowly and so that they can hear you clearly. So like the English test is important. Even some programs, if you do the English test and you don't get some certain score for speaking, you would be asked to take another test when you get to school. So certify that this person really understands English. So that is that. And here, some people also look for shortcuts, maybe tell the school, like go to their universities that, hey, University of Lagos, can you give me a document that my bachelor's was taught in English? Fine, those documents helps. Those documents would make you go through the application process, but then they won't help you when it comes to funding, because what they need to check, the metrics they need to check is not in that letter. The letter is just stating that your undergraduate was taught in English and all. So statement of purpose is another document that is so important when it comes to you applying to graduate school, because statement of purpose is going to cover everything: your motivation to graduate school, what have you been doing previously, the skills you have, when you left university, what were you doing, and your research interest. Have you looked up faculties? Who and who do you think you can work with? And yeah, your extracurriculars, and generally everything about you. Everyone have unique SOP, statement of purpose. So write your own. Don't just, even if you get samples from somewhere, just reiterate and look at how the person structured it. Not just copy this verbatim. There is a case that happened lately that a guy was asked to withdraw from a university here in the US, Marquette University, because some of his documents were plagiarized. You don't want that to happen to you. After he person got to the US, posted on LinkedIn, hello LinkedIn family, I'm already in the US, this and that. And the university later asked him to later show him the door. That won't be nice. Diversity essay, this essay is like, not all universities require this diversity essay, because at least my university, when I applied, I was not asked to write, but after a while, maybe after like a year, they start requesting for it. So again, you can look this up and look for samples and look at how you can structure yours too. Don't just copy verbatim. Writing sample is like, if you have a publication, that's a writing sample. If you don't have a publication, you are fine. You can use your bachelor's thesis, just like restructure it, just write few paragraphs, like few pages, structure it in such a way that you talk about the introduction, what's your thesis about, and what do you investigate, and how is it published or not. Just like the professor wants to see that this person, you are going to grad school, you are going to learn, you need some skills, writing skills and all. So you want to see that, is this person really the kind of candidates we need? That's what's the essence of the writing sample. Academic CV, this is just different from the kind of CV we used to back in Nigeria to apply for jobs. Academic CV won't have a lot of things. So we'll talk about this soon. Recommendation letters, yeah, this also can make or mar your application. You want a recommendation letter from your professors, from your former place of work. Like, your recommendation letters are so important, and they should be like just specific to you. You know, some professors will just write, okay, I'm recommending Ismail Olani for this and that, but they won't really state those key things that made me unique. My relationship with the professor and everything should be stated in the letter. They should speak highly of me, not just I'm recommending Ismail Olani for a PhD program in geomatics because he's my boy, please give him admission and funding. It's not really cool that way. We should, like, there are samples everywhere too. I can share you some, but the professors or your former place of work should fix this for you, and it should be a very good one, not just a generic letter, because all of this all together makes your application package. Transcript. Currently, we know in Nigeria that the ASU is on strike, and there are different issues with transcript. So if you've not gotten your transcript, you can still use, if you have like statements of results that you can get from your school portal, you can just download that and use that as your unofficial transcript before your admission. So transcripts are of different kinds too. Official transcript is one sent from your university to the school you're applying to. Unofficial transcript is the one you can access yourself, which you can use for your application. Some schools would give you access to official transcript, while some will not. So try to work with your schools where you studied and try to get all of your transcript and make sure you put that into your application too. Certificates, some schools will ask you to upload certificate. I know a school in Illinois that would ask you to upload your certificates. So you should look out for such schools too. Now, going further, if you are interested in GRE, or if you are someone that you feel like, okay, I want my application to be strong and I'm looking at putting in for GRE. So GRE has 3 sections. You have the quant, you have the verbal, and the analytical writing assessment. The quant, for the quant, there are different books which you can use. As I know, we are surveyors, we have very good, strong mathematics background. And yeah, we won't really have lots of issues trying to study quant, because, and GRE is not like a test of like lots of mathematics stuff. It's just like a measure of your quantitative reasoning. So majorly you have the ETS books. ETS are the makers of the GRE themselves. So they have some books recommended. There's Manhattan 6 books. There's Manhattan 5 pounds or 5 LB book. There's Nova Maths GRE Bible and KMF books that you can study for the quant. Same as the verbal. So verbal here, you have to learn lots of vocabularies and all. The analytical writing assessment, this is basically just writing. They will give you essay writing. They will give you some topics and you just write on it, like 2 different essays. The first one you talk about like a topic. The second one is going to be like an argument. So you just need to write guys support and why are you supporting such arguments. So like all of these stuff, they are not really hard. If you can give it like 2 months or 3 months, you can still get it done. And while you are still applying for your programs too. Some program will allow you to submit your GRE on a later date before they review the program, before they review your application. So also the TOEFL, test of English language, is another one to prove that this person can speak English. These are materials that you can use for the TOEFL too. ETS official guide, the Cambridge desktop application. This is an application that you can install on your computer that you can use to study for TOEFL. IELTS is accepted everywhere too. So you can also use IELTS if you have one. All of these tests, they should be academic, not general. There's IELTS academic and there's IELTS general. So if you are like going for immigration, which is not the essence of this webinar, you should consider general, but if you are considering applying to schools, you should be IELTS academic. Also Duolingo is cheaper and schools accept it. Some schools accept it, some schools don't. Check with your schools first before you put in for Duolingo. And Duolingo is very easy and to study and all. They have an official guide, and there's this teacher on YouTube, English teacher Luke. You can look up his video to learn about Duolingo. So statement of purpose, I would like to walk through this a bit. I have about 6 paragraphs that you can structure your SOP. You know, many people have lots of questions when it comes to SOP. How do I structure my SOP? Your first paragraph should capture your motivation. This place, I used to call it, this is the hook. Like anyone getting your essay that wants to look through your essay, looking at the first paragraph alone should make the person want to read more. You don't want to write that I'm writing this statement of purpose because I want to study in the US and this and that. No, your motivation, your first paragraph should be your motivation. Why did you choose the program that you studied in Nigeria? Why did you choose that program? Probably some people talk about maybe they just had some interest, because as human beings, we have like reasonings where we can actually think about stuff and feel like we have more questions about these things, and our inquisitiveness, that's the word. So like I might decide that, okay, over the years, I've been looking at how this world could be made a better place through geospatial intelligence and through connecting people and all using different techniques. With this, it informed my choice of undergraduate program, which was in surveying and geoinformatics, which was in geoinformatics engineering in University of Lagos, Nigeria. Also, like this stuff make me put in more questions. Just look for a way to like connect everything together. Then after you talked about that, then you can talk about, okay, then with all of this, it's actually informed me to choose this program, maybe geomatics engineering, geospatial engineering at New York University for maybe my PhD or something like that. The first paragraph should be like the hook. Like anyone that reads your first paragraph should want to read more about your SOP. The second paragraph should talk about your previous work experience. Maybe I used to start this way because all of this stuff should be connected. See the first paragraph as like, I got into the university. I want to study surveying. Okay, I started studying surveying. After a while, then my second paragraph might be talking about, because most of us, we got the bulk of our experience when we went for our 6-month IT during the university, or went for our 1-year IT, or went for our 4-month COS during the ND program. So you might want to talk about that because during this period, you learned a lot of stuff. You learned the real world stuff and all. So that's why I wrote penultimate semester here. For guys in the university, it's like the 4th year. For guys that did ND and HND, is probably your IT year or your HND after HND. So those skills that you gather during that time, you can state that to here that I was during my penultimate semester, I was exposed to different surveying tools, different surveying softwares, and I learned how to do various analysis when it comes to this software, these GIS skills, remote sensing skills. Also, like this later informed your choice of thesis when you want to choose your undergraduate thesis. Also, you talk about everything, and if your thesis was published too, it's noteworthy here to talk about it. So you can talk about the thesis was later published in this particular journal. If it's not published, no wala. If it is published, fine. So how it shaped your career, you can, okay, when I did this, when I did that, it's like, because you did your thesis in hydrography, you mapped the seashores or the shore of Lagos, it's actually shaped your career of being an hydrographer or being ocean mapper, something like that. So you talk about that. Then after you graduate, you can see that all of these stuff are stepwise. When you got into school, what you did in school, your research. After you graduate, maybe upon graduation, I got this position into this and I was doing this. I have learned this and this over time. My communication skills became better because I was working here, something like that. Then the fourth paragraph should caption your research interest. Your research interest is very important because that is one of those things that are very important in your SOP. How your interest led to your the school that you choose. Maybe I did my bachelor's and I did my research in hydrography and I chose University of Southern Mississippi or University of New Hampshire because what influenced my choice, it was because I did a thesis there. I'm currently working as an hydrographer. So like, I want to keep going in hydrography. So something like that, then you can state professors working in these areas and maybe one or two of their papers. If it's a school that you've secured a professor already, you can note it here that I've already talked to these professors and he accepted me to be a student. So when they are reviewing this document, they know that, oh, this is the guy that this professor is taking, something like that. But if you have not reached out to a professor or you reach out to a professor, they are not responding to you. What you need to do here, just like state at least about 3 professors or about 2 professors and state what they are doing and how your skills and how your experiences connect with what they are doing and how you are going to perform better working with them or working under their tutelage. So also your motivation towards the choice of the school too is very important because you don't want to choose just any kind of school. You want to choose a school that is very good. Like most schools in the US are good, but then they are very, very good schools too. So your motivations towards choosing that school and the pointers towards success in the program, because grassroots program, you need to up your skills when it comes to writing, when it comes to communication, when it comes to interrelation. Like pointers are like what you have previously, which you've discussed previously in the previous paragraph, and how it connects to the program that you are applying to, and your long-term goals too should be stated here. Maybe when I graduate, I want to maybe be a professor, I want to go into academia, but then I want to go to the industry, but then still very close to the academia, like an adjunct professor or something like that. So that's like this paragraph. The next paragraph should be extracurriculars. Many people don't literally consider this in SOP but then I'm of the opinion that schools, they don't want a robot. Not that we all went to school, all our life is just school, 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 school. I'm not, I know myself, I'm not just that kind of person. Not just like school, school, school. They want to see a all-round kind of student, a student that does other things aside school. Maybe you volunteered, you can bulk all of this in a paragraph. Maybe while I was in school, I was like, you can say aside academics, I volunteered as this and that. I was part of a committee that did fundraising. Like Oyinbos, they like hearing this word, fundraising. Like I did fundraising for this stuff and we helped this community, something like that. Mentorships, maybe you were part of like a mentorship program that you mentored the young school leavers or something like that. And with all of these, maybe you were awarded for your work. This is like a good point for you because you volunteered, you did fundraising, you mentored students, and you got an award, meaning that they recognized what you did. How all of this connect to your application? Try to look for a way to connect them. Then in conclusion, talk about your interest again in this about the school, because reading from this first paragraph, the second paragraph, towards the end, if it's like someone that maybe the reviewer is kind of lost in your words, the person can just this conclusion should reiterate your interest again about the program, what the program will do for you when you graduate. Maybe when I graduate from this PhD in geomatics, I intend to I'm looking forward to like have garnered skills in maybe analytics or something like that. Like, what will it do for you when you graduate, and how do you intend to give back? Some people like to see this, like, so it's going to show that this person actually know where he or she is going, not just that you want to just japa. Many people nowadays, they just want to japa, so they just write that, okay, I want to study this, I want to study that, and what is your plan? What are your plans? How do you intend to give back to the community? Do you intend to go to the academia? If yes, state it. Do you intend to go into collaborative research? You can talk about it. Do you intend to like go into like industry and at the same time still working, still like doing some form of research like R&D for companies too? You can say that right here. So timeline for application. The timeline for application for fall semester, the semester starts in August. So if you want to resume in fall 23, that's the fall of 2023, that's August 2023. Some schools resume in September anyway, but check out the deadlines for the intended program. The first deadline is around October 31st. The next should be around November 15, November 31st, December 1st, December 15, December 31st, January 1st, January 15, January 31. Some schools have deadline in February, some schools have deadline in March 15. So you need to check out which schools are you applying to and what are the deadlines. Spring application to spring semesters. Since spring semester resumes in January, so meaning you have to get to the US. If you're applying for spring, you should get to the US in December of that year. If you are considering for spring of 2023, you should have submitted your application already. In fact, you should be getting offers already because you are expected to resume in the US late December, maybe towards the New Year Eve or something, to start your program in January. So again, check the school website for deadlines and all. Some application, there are very few schools, like some schools might want to take you in for summer, just check. So there are some things about, there are some words like rolling admissions. Some schools on their website say that we give rolling admission. Rolling admission means that when you apply to a program, as soon as they get your application, they will review your application and they would give you your decision immediately. Decision can be positive, decision can be negative, depends on the quality of your application. So rounds 2 is another option. Rounds means that maybe the school is actually they open the application maybe in August and people start applying, they can decide to like, maybe at the end of October, we want to, all the application we've received, we'll review it and give admission. Then they'll wait again. See, this happens most times, maybe when you and your friends, you're applying to schools and you apply to the same schools, but then your friend submitted his application before yours. Then your friend got his or her decision before yours. You have to like, okay, but then we applied to the same school. This person got his response already. I don't have mine. The school is actually using rounds. Maybe when the person submitted, it was towards when they want to start reviewing, but you submitted when they started accepting for another round. So something like that, look out for that. Again, very important thing, look out for funding priority deadlines. Schools have two different kinds of deadlines: deadline for admission and deadline for funding. Deadline for funding is always different from deadline for admission. If it's only admission that you want, maybe you have money, your daddy is Dangote or something like that, you can apply to just for deadline for admission. But deadline for funding is always earlier so that they can review, these are the candidates we want to give teaching assistantship, research assistantship, fellowship, and stuff like that. So running quick, how to mail professors. Mailing professors here is, there's no hard and fast rule for mailing professors, because sometimes mailing professors might help your application, sometimes it won't, depends on what a school wants. But I'll tell you that the first thing you need to do is reach out to grad coordinator first. Grad coordinator are like the people that stand in for a department. So if you click on this link, you can access a sample of questions you can ask grad coordinator. Trust me, this sample has like lots of questions that you can ask grad coordinators, and with these questions, you would have answers to most of your doubts. Maybe is there funding? You need to reach out to professors. Are they going to give you application fee waivers or something like that? So reach out to grad coordinator first and ask, is it important for you to reach out to professors? If they said it's not needed, it is not needed, you don't need to. But if they state that it is optional, please try to reach out to professors. If they say it is optional, because when they are reviewing this application, professors sit together to review applications, and you want a professor that have seen your name before in his or his email. You want a professor that knows you already, because the professor like, oh, I've seen this name before. I've seen Sheriff before. Sheriff is a guy that reached out to me some months ago. So easily the professor might be interested in just taking you. So again, the timing is important. If you are sending a mail to anyone in the US, check the time zone. In the USA, we have different cities and we have with different time zones. From here currently, difference between my time and Nigerian time is 5 hours. Some states like California have different times. Some states like Oregon, different time. In your mail to professors, check your timing before you do that. It should not be too long. Before you write the email, read their publication, their recent publication, because you want to like talk to someone about, because for instance, maybe I want to like talk to someone and I need a brief information about this person before I can push forward. So something like that. And also state your prior work experience, your skills, how it aligns with your application, attach your CV, your transcript, and other documents. So when you're attaching these documents, merge everything into just a single document, because you don't want professors to download like 5 documents at once. Just merge all and call it maybe 423 application document _ Ismail Olani, something like that. So more tips, you need to start early, start your application early. The early bird catches the worm. You want to submit the application as early as possible so that you can get what you want before one big profile guy will just come and take all your funding. For instance, maybe I graduated with 2.2 and there's a friend that had like 4.95/5, and he is very proud to start his application early. I started early because I had just 2.2. I know that I have a lot of work to do. So if I start early, if a professor promised me that I'm getting this, I'm going to get it. Even if the guy with all of the awards and everything comes, he might not get anything at the end of the day. Again, work on your LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile now is like one of your application documents. Make sure that it is well structured. Put everything that is very nice there. Talk to your previous lecturers and employers for recommendation letters, because you will need all of these people to write letters for you when you're applying to schools. Attend graduate school events. These events are where you get application fee waivers, you will get information about the school, you can have specifics. Before I came to Podier, I met my professors, some of them, during one of the events. So like we talked to them. like they met we that we are applying from, we are considering applying for 421 then. So get your transcript early, start the process early. I know University of Lagos and other universities too, like another polytechnics too, they might want you to like they might want to apply as early as possible because it might take some time before, you know, these bureaucracies in our universities and our colleges. Follow instruction. If you are asked to submit a 500 words SOP, don't, because I have something that is very gigantic, something that is very beautiful, then I decide to write 1,000 words. Again, word limit is different from character limit. Try to check that. You can see that on your Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word document. Follow instructions. If they ask for 500 words, don't exceed that. You can write less. Don't make it more than that. Strong academic CV. There are samples I can share. I'll share some samples too. Don't rely too much on application fee waivers. Application fee waivers can help you, and they might not help you too. I have a friend that applied to Virginia University, like Virginia Tech University. He asked for application fee waiver. The professor told him that, guy, that if you are giving this waiver, if you pay this waiver, it might be one of the best investments you've ever made in your life. The guy packaged, looked for money and applied. He got into the school. The school is a very top school in Blacksburg in Virginia. So like he got in because, and if people get waivers, sometimes it might downplay the strength of your application because this guy paid for application fee and this guy did not pay. Like, we don't know what metrics schools are using. They are going to do it behind closed doors. You are not there. So sometimes getting these stuff, if the school gives it, fine, you can use it. But then if you ask for it and they waived it, I don't know, it might help you, it might not help you. I myself, I paid for some, I did not pay for some. So talk to professors if required, please do that. If it's optional, talk to them. If it's required, talk to them. So work with grad coordinators. These guys have all the information you might need about the department. And the last tip is pray, 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 pray. I pray a lot. You should do the same too when you're applying. Commit everything to God's hand and things should work out fine. So I have some list of schools here. Lots of them, if you click on these links, there are some here, University of Texas, different programs that you can consider while applying to schools and everything. So more information here. Again, the links to materials I'll share with the committee so they can share it with everyone after this time out. Thank you all for listening. I hope I'm able to do justice to what you asked me to do. Thank you. If I'm speaking too fast, I'm sorry. If I'm speaking too slow, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ismail.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So we'll be having a break for 5 minutes. And then also, please, if you have questions that you want to ask Ismail, please you can either you type it to the chat box, or we have a question and answer session, but that will be at the end of the three, or like when the three speakers like are done. So please, if you have a question, just type it into the chat box and we'll address it immediately after the whole session. So for now, we have like 5 minutes break and we'll be starting with the next speaker, who is gonna be Surveyor Ilesomi, and that will be by 3:50. Also, while we wait, if you are still available and you have like questions, if you type them in the chat box, either Ismail or myself or any member of the scholarship committee can actually respond to the question. So pending the time that we start the next session, you can type in your questions and anybody can answer them.
Okay, there is a question in the chat box that the person is asking about WES and ECE evaluation. So if you have ND or HND and you want to apply to grad school, it's also possible. So as we know that some of us are surveyors, we had ND and HND, and you can always do WES evaluation. WES evaluation or ECE evaluation or any of the NACES body, they can help you evaluate your transcript. So you send your transcript to them for both ND and HND, and they convert this both of your GPA into a single GPA, and you can use they'll give you like a transcript. You can use that transcript to apply to graduate school. There are some schools in the US, but then try to look out for schools that want evaluated transcripts. Those schools will actually be a very good place for you. One of the samples is Idaho State University in the Northern Pacific. They require evaluated transcript. And that was Georgia Southern University. They want evaluated transcript. Again, look out for schools, look out for programs. You can check programs within geography. They have different samples, different specialization areas like GIS, remote sensing, and stuff like that. First thing is I look for a school that wants evaluated transcript. You have ND or HND, and look at their programs and see which one you can apply. Check on the environmental sciences, you see remote sensing, GIS there, and or forestry and natural resources, you see programs there too that has GIS or remote sensing. You can do that. So with your ND and HND, sometimes you don't need to go do a top up or convert it to BSc or something like that. And if you have to, you have to strengthen the other part of the application, because I know some friends that had tutu and they got PhD programs in the US. They concentrated on other part of their program, other part of their application, because your transcript, your GPA is nothing that you can change currently, because you already graduated. Nothing can happen to your GPA anymore. It can't increase, it can't decrease anymore. So now you need to work on other things. Maybe your GRE, you can take the GRE test, do a very good job with the GRE, get a very good grade, do the TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo, make sure that it's a very good score, and get professors that will write very good applications, very good recommendation letters for you, or your place of work too. Mind you, if they're writing application letters for you, they should not use Gmail, Yahoo Mail. Those are personal emails. They should use their institution email or their workplace email. Workplace email is like, maybe you work with Geospatial, you can be like abiola@geospatial.ng, something like that. That's a work email, not like abiola@geospatial@gmail.com. That's different. So for tutu guys, try to work on your other part of the application. Your GPA is nothing that you can change. Your work experience, your skills, work on those stuff and your standardized tests. I believe that you will get a very good offer when you apply to US schools. For the guy asking about for the tutu, he said that the schools want 3.0 over 4 GPA and above. You can check for schools that want less. There are schools that want less. Just trust me, just Google graduate school in United States that requires GPA of 2.9 or GPA of 2.7. First thing you need to do, convert your GPA from 5 to 4. Know what you have. now you want to like work with what you have. Graduate schools that requires for less GPA, that requires for this GPA that you have and below, those are your best shots. Just look for those schools and put in your application. Trust me, there are schools like that. We can work together and look for schools like that. So and again, there are some schools, don't misconstrue some information. If they want 3.0, read in depth. Some schools will tell you that your last 2 years while studying should be 3.0. So some of us started very low while we tried to catch up before we graduate. Some of us started very top before, towards the end, something happened and we could not, we lost focus, kinda. So check the requirement for the 3.0 itself. It might be your first half if you study, it might be the last half. So check that too. So also, which other question?
I think we can address the other questions in the chat box, or maybe address them at the question and answer session at the end of the whole session. So now we're starting the next session, and the person that will be speaking to us today is Surveyor Olani. He's currently doing his master's in GIS, Geographic Information Science, at University of Calgary, Canada, and I believe he will say much about himself when he starts. So, Surveyor Olani, I don't know if you are here with us. Yes, kindly share. Thank you.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Let me just turn off. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to be part of this series, this webinar series on Geomatics Scholarship. So before I go further, I would like to commend the previous speaker. He has really done justice to most of the dynamics in getting Geomatics Scholarship. So I'll be deviating a little bit, but everything still works around the dynamics. So I'll be looking at the positioning yourself for graduate opportunities in Canada. And another part of that's the North American continent. So they have several similarities. So this is just the overview of what I'll be sharing with you guys this evening. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, how I started, how I got to where I am. Then before we dive into the discussion proper, I'll be sharing some effectiveness strategies with you guys. Then probably I'll be looking at the graduate studies and opportunities together. Then the conclusion, the question and answer. Just relax and stay tuned. So the introduction, like you all know, I'm a surveyor and I'm also a GIS analyst. I'm currently running my master's in GIS from the University of Calgary. And of course, I hold diploma in surveying and geomatics. I started all the way from having my MD in Geomatics, attending Geomatics. I proceeded to Oyo for my postgraduate candidate, what we call PD, professional diploma. Then later I went back to Unilag for the BSc and my master's in surveying. I have a lot of folks that we met in Unilag, and I really enjoyed working with some young mind, and that really got me moving. And that's one of the things that actually encouraged me to push further. So I am an enthusiast of excellent leadership. I like, leadership position, because I believe leadership is all about influence. And also, I happen to be one of the recipients of the FIG grant. So, before we dive in, so I want us to reflect on this pyramid. I came up with this just to, check our effectiveness level. So it's a strategy that we all want to adopt. See, very kindly ignore this stuff. I think it's one with the whiteboard. So if you look at the pyramid, you have 4 different levels, and the first level is where you need to reflect on yourself. Reflecting on yourself takes so many things. It takes you need to know, you need to be able to describe yourself better, and that is where the bulk of work lies on. So you want to, if you even look at the pyramid, you realize that the first level has more volume, so to speak. So you need to, work on yourself, see what's, do more of reflection on yourself, see what you can achieve, and, see what are the goals you've set for yourself and everything, and how you want to achieve those goals. Then the second level is preparing your mind. Of course, if you are talking about scholarships, sincerely speaking, it doesn't come easy that way. There's this saying when I go to Canada, one of my flatmates used to say something that there's nothing free in Canada, So I understand that if you want to buy anything, if you are buying anything, even at the shopping mall, you pay for the polythene bag. You understand? You pay for roughly everything you get. So nothing comes cheap. So, and there's this saying that whatever is going to, end well doesn't really come easy. So we need to prepare our mind for challenges and some other things. Then the third level, the more you move to that level, the easier it gets, and this third level, you need to get ready to explore options. If you are applying for grad studies or an opportunity, you want to explore options from different, but not just, you don't have to focus on the US or Canada. So you want to focus on other parts in the UK. I remember before I opted in for this Canada study, I got a kind of discounted scholarship in the UK. But I deliberately, because for me, I'm not a Generation Z anyway, and I need to consider my family. I have 3 kids. I forgot to mention that. So I need to consider them. So, working towards that, I need to consider that, okay, if I'm weighing my options, I need to opt in for something that will, that my kids will also benefit in the near future. So I'm just saying that because I know we also have some young professionals among us that's, having some level of responsibility. Then the last one is for us to take action. So you want to take action by submitting your application on time, like the previous speaker said, and and some other things. So I'm not going to dwell much. I'm not dwelling much on this. So now we are going to go to the business for today. I'm sure we are all ready, and I want us to begin. So now from what I have here, if you are focusing your search, I believe in Canada you want to focus your search on the top research universities, and we call them the U15 universities. So the U15 universities is more like a conglomerate of research universities in Canada. The first 15 research universities in Canada. Let me just put it that way. So of course, number 1 on the list is University of Toronto, and followed by University of British Columbia, then McGill University, University of Alberta, then University of Calgary. I needed to list the top 5 research university. So if you look at the image there, you have some other university like University of Saskatchewan, University of Manitoba, University of Waterloo, several other universities that you can leverage your search on. And I've provided some link. You can click on those links to take you directly to the graduate awards that those universities are offering. So, and these are some other useful links that you might want to, that will be very, very helpful for graduate opportunity. I know for Geomatics program, I know Canada happens to be the founding, or let me say the pioneering this is for GIS, so to speak. So as far back as the 1960s, Canada, the government of Canada was able to use GIS to take inventory of their cadastral information system. So if you want to check for the special scholarship, you can consider those universities I mentioned earlier. I know University of Toronto, then I know University of British Columbia. For British Columbia, the Geomatics department is under their Department of Forestry. So you want to check for the GEM, that's the Geomatics Environmental Management Program in British Columbia. So for University of Calgary, you have Geomatics Engineering, it's in the engineering department. Then for that, you can just explore those links, then you can get the appropriate program. So evaluating your credentials, I want to speak extensively on this as well, because before the previous speaker answered that question, I was going to say some few things about that question. But thank God he eventually answered this question. And if you're talking about your educational credential assessment, which is ECA, although of course most people call it WES. WES is actually an agent that handles ECA. So we have several other ones, but because WES is very, very common, so we just call it WES evaluation, WES evaluation. We have ICES, we have ICAS, we have IQAS, and several other evaluation agency like that, services. So, and what the ECA does is it helps your school first to verify the validity and authenticity of your credential. The best way they can verify your credentials is to know that it's coming from the appropriate body. Then it also helps Canadian. It identifies the Canadian equivalent of your foreign credential. Basically, this most Canadian schools does not really require this evaluation, so to speak, for academic purposes. But people do WES. I know in the US it is required, like the previous speaker said, especially when you're applying to HND, that you want to, that it is important for you to do the evaluation. If you have HND and you know that, okay, probably you have distinction or upper credit, even to an extent, if you have a very strong lower, you can, evaluate so that, because one thing about their grading system is quite different from the way we actually grade our own system. So evaluating your credentials, especially when you do the course by course evaluation, it's actually give them the equivalent grade for that particular course. So you want to evaluate so that you can, so that you can identify the Canadian equivalent of your credentials. Then lastly, ways is going to save you cost and some valuable time. And the reason why I say so, imagine, look at the situation of Nigeria now. ASU has been on strike for about 9 months or more than, if I'm right. And so many people could not access their transcript. And imagine if you have done WES evaluation, that can be a kind of an alternative or an option for you to proceed with your application. You understand? Because if you evaluate your credential, although I didn't evaluate my credential with WES, because I was just focused that okay, I was going to submit my application to these two universities in Canada, and I just asked the school to send the credential. In fact, I didn't end up sending my transcripts to the second school. I just sent it directly to the University of Calgary. So, but for WES, if you have WES, you don't have to save the time, especially when you don't have that time to go to your alma mater, start going from one alma mater to another every time you want to apply. So you can easily ask WES to send to various schools. So, and they have different package. They have the basic, they have the ICAP. So the basic helps you to, send your application a kind of on one, that is more like one-time process. But if you need the subsequent request, then you now have to pay maybe about 30 Canadian dollars to send to other schools if there is need for it. But the high cap saves you that cost. But although at inception, you need to pay more if you are subscribing for the high cap. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that WES might be very, very important because there are so many uncertainties in Nigeria, so to speak. So you don't know what will happen in the nearest future. So, but you want to be on the safer side. You want to be sure that you have all your documents in a safe vote. So that by the time you want to shoot your shots, you can easily access those things. So I think the next one is before you start applying, you want to be sure that you consider the following on your checklist. And the previous speaker dealt so much on all these things. He took time to explain all these things, and like I said, they have similarities. All those things are also applicable in Canada. So there's no different way about it. Once you get your program of interest, you want to check the program type and the modalities. So, like we all know, there are thesis-based course and there are course-based course. For the course-based, is more like instructor-led. The one I'm doing presently is course-based. I'm not doing thesis, and the thesis is where you have to do your research and submit a kind of dissertation. So for scholarship, you want to focus more on the thesis base because it comes with so many funding options. You understand? You want to be sure that you get fund probably from your supervisor or some. At times, it comes with a kind of entry funding or entry scholarship or awards. Because if you have a very good result, probably from Nigeria, most schools, especially in Canada and the US, they have entry funding and some other external funding. So most of those entry funding are internal based. So that's why it's always good to even, make sure that you even apply first. And then I would like to chip in this in case you probably didn't get funding at the point of application. I get to understand that in Canada, there are some internal grants that you can be eligible with. Once you start your program, you can get funding or grants from at the course of the program. So I wouldn't want you to just, give up and, stop pushing, especially for those people that want to jackpot. So, well, let me don't go there. So let me. The second one is the research interest and your professional experience. Your research interest is very, very important because and your professional experience, and that will need to be you need to reflect that on your letter of recommendation. So your referee should attest to your teachability. Your referee should attest to your teachability. You have to be they have to state that you are teachable, and also your resume should capture your work experience. Your professional experience. And I've come to realize that I think the way in Canada, I wouldn't know about some other parts, there's a difference between your resume and your CV. Your CV is more detailed. Your resume is a summary. So most times your resume shouldn't be more than 2 pages. So I know there are plans for someone to dwell on that in the subsequent webinar series. So you want to be sure that your professional experience is well stated on your resume, well captured, and so that you can tell the admission committee or team that you have this experience. And I remember when I got my my feedback from the University of Calgary. When I saw that email that the admission committee were very pleased with your application and everything, I felt on top of the world. I was like, oh, so I could, get to this level and everything. So what I'm trying to say is that irrespective of your status, your stage or your age or whatsoever, you have 1 or 2 experience. Like the previous speaker said, it could be during your volunteering services, it could be all these IT, CWS, whatever, all those experience, they actually go a long way. So I'll move to the next one, which is finding a supervisor. Of course, for thesis-based program, it requires you to get one before you apply. Most thesis program in Canada will ask you to get a supervisor before you apply for the program. So the process of getting admitted is based on you getting a supervisor. So, and if you don't get that supervisor, they might not really consider you for the admission, and not to talk about getting scholarship or fund. So it's very, very important that you need to make sure that the kind of person you want to pick, you need to be sure that the person's interest aligns with your own interest. There have to be an alignment or a connection between both of you. So you can't just say, okay, because you want to do special science and everything, you are looking for supervisor in another field that is, of course, if you are looking for supervisor in that department, they also have area of specialization. So you need to consider that, okay, this person might be doing biological analysis or something like that. They might have a kind of biology, but one thing about them is it might not necessarily be that they have background in surveying. They might have different background, and maybe probably at that level, at the graduate study, they develop interest in that program, and they develop their interest in that particular field. So you can have different background and still find yourself in another, just like the previous speaker that that's doing civil engineering training. Of course, they are interwoven, but they are almost related. But you want to leverage on the fact that you could use all those instruments and everything. Of course, there are some other things that an average or a typical civil engineering student must have known. You understand? But that doesn't stop him from doing his master's in civil engineering. So I want us to, because there are some things that are not possible in our own academic system. So I want us not to dwell on that. We need to, do a lot of research and, send mails. That's very, very important. I thank God I'm mentioning that. One thing about, they appreciate you to ask questions. They want to, if you are not clear about something, don't hesitate to send them a mail even before you apply. Send as, many mails as possible just to get clarification. So the last one is your possible source of funding. So of course, this varies from internal and external stuff. I explained that earlier on. Then there are also research grants, and of course, there's also personal fund. So you want to, if you know you can afford it, you can, but we are talking about getting scholarships, so you don't want to dwell on that. But one thing about Canadian schools is they barely waive application. Most of the schools in Canada barely waive application fee, because I think as far as Canada is, I don't know why, but they want you to show a level of commitment. So, but the application fee is actually not that expensive. An average school in Canada will ask you to pay about $145 Canadian dollars, or some schools will ask you to pay maybe less than 120 or Canadian dollars. So it's something that you should be able to afford. You understand? So it's everything. All these things are what we need to consider on our checklist when we are submitting an application. So I think I'm rounding up, but I'm going to round up with this quote I got from Theodore Roosevelt that says, "Believe you can, and you are halfway there." So once you have that belief that you can do it, then definitely you're halfway there. So you can all you just need to do is, keep pushing to the final line. And that actually I'm reminded of a story. It's more or less like a joke anyway, about a king that king owned a palace, so many beautiful things in his palace, and he has a daughter, and he called all the men in his community. The king was worried that the daughter has not gotten married, and no one is coming for her. So he now said they should call all the men and to come around to the palace. And when they came, he told them that he has this, he has that, he has so many things, and that he's going to give away his daughter, so whosoever that pleases him, that does his wish. And people were like so excited to know that wish. I don't know, probably people were scared of asking the daughter house. Of course, you want to be scared of asking the princess, because of course you don't know your background. So I'm just saying this for you to know that there's nothing that is not possible. So at the end of the day, the king gave them told the old people the side attraction and everything that he has to give them. He now gave them his condition. And what was the condition? He told them that whoever is going to have is going to have all this might need to swim. There's a kind of swimming pool at the back of his palace. Said whoever is going to have all this might need to swim through the swimming pool. He now said, people were like, swim through. What's the big deal in swimming? Read the condition. So in fact, when people heard about swimming through the swimming pool, I don't know the length. So, but something they can easily swim across. So they were like, what kind of easy tax is this? So people started removing their shirt and everything, and to jump into the pool. And So just at the time, the king now said, but there's one thing, that he has a lot of crocodiles in that pool. So maybe they heard that, a lot of people, so many people that were excited to swim, going wherever. But before they hear anything, they heard a splash. Wow. Someone was inside the pool already, and the guy, before you know it, the guy came out from the other side. And when the guy came out from the other side, they were like, wow, this guy had the courage to, swim through. And when the guy came out, we were like praising the guy that as in for him to, swim through the pool and everything. And the king was like, wow, you amazed me, and all those things. The guy didn't say anything. The guy was just panting. He kept panting. They were like, guy, what happened? You've done it now. The guy said, what happened? The guy said, who pushed him into the swimming pool? So what I want to say is, we just need a little bit push. Pushing the guy into the swimming pool, the guy was able to swim through, and and that was how he got all the goodies and everything. So I just want to stop there. I think I will utilize my time to discuss the basic things we need to know about getting this scholarship in Canada. So thank you guys. I look forward to having your questions. So just feel free to ask me any question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Surveyor Ilesomi of University of Calgary.
Okay.
Please, if you have question before, because I think you even still have some time. If you have questions, you can actually direct it to the speaker while he's still here. Also, if there's any question that Ismail has not responded to, also please just direct it, or maybe we type it in the chat box, and then I'll check it, and they're available to answer before we start our next session. But for now, we are going to take like some questions, and we also have a time for break of 5 minutes. Okay, so someone is asking a question. I think anybody can answer actually. The person said, must one be a licensed surveyor to further his education? And is there any benefit for a licensed surveyor as an applicant? I think that's what the person is saying. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Okay. Of course, you don't have to be a licensed surveyor before you can apply. I'm not sure the previous speaker was licensed. Did I get the question right? So
yeah,
it's not a criteria. Though if you are the verge of becoming licensed, I would just encourage you to still, if you can, get licensed as well. It's going to, with time, it will also help you, but not for the scholarship. They don't consider that as part of their criteria. Like the previous speaker said, if you know that, okay, probably you didn't meet the high chance, because most schools want to be sure that you don't have anything less than 70% as an average after evaluating wherever your transcript and your result and everything. They want to be sure that you don't have anything less than 70%. So if you feel you don't have that, you don't meet that criteria or that requirement, you can now, dwell on your other credentials, maybe online. That's where your experience will actually come, your professional experience, and that can actually give you a kind of but you don't necessarily have to become registered before you like this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, like you said, you don't have to be registered, but all of us, we look forward to being registered, just like him. So another person is asking, how do I apply for, okay, he's basically asking for how he's going to do his worst evaluation and how much it costs. I think Ismail or somebody can address that also. Like if they want to do their evaluation, like how much does it cost?
Okay, for where's evaluation, it's the basic package is 117 Canadian dollars. So if you are going to convert that, currently that should be around if you are using the CBN rates, that should be let's say approximately 120 Canadian dollars. So you can also convert that to the US dollar, like about 100 US dollar, 105 or so. So that should be about maybe 55 thereabouts for that if you are using the CBN reports. If you are using the, things are not they are not encouraging us anyway, because the reason why they are, limiting people to pay with their card, I don't know. But of course, if you are going to make any payment, that means you have to use the parallel market rates to do your conversion. So if you are using the parallel market rate to do your conversion, then you should be talking about 75K thereabouts, the basic package. But if you are considering the high cap that you can easily, go back into paying for another school, then that should be that is about 157, I think 152 Canadian dollars. That's less than 150 Canadian dollars. So you should be working toward 75 to 100, depending on the conversion rate. Yeah. Then if someone asks about is a wide result needed for both Canada and the US, basically they don't really for grad study, they don't really need your O-level results. So it's actually your institution result, your post-secondary school results. So perhaps from your ND, HND. And one thing is, if you are doing your evaluation or if you are submitting your transcript, most Canadian schools want to see all your transcripts. Depending whatever academic history you supply, you need to provide transcripts for all the schools. So I don't know if I answered that.
Yeah. Also, like I would like any of, I think maybe Ismail, because I think that is more, I don't know much about the Canada, like to just address these two, like, because I know like some people are asking questions about if they have tutu, and I know like having tutu does not actually like matter a lot if you know how to put in your application and if you know how to strengthen it. So can you like address the issue of if someone has tutu and they are considering going to grad school, like their chances?
Okay, you want me to address that?
Yeah, you can address it just quickly, just say something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for tutu or HND, because at times you might depending on the your grade from your HND. Of course, if you have a first class maybe from distinction from your HND, you are even fine. I came across someone that had HND and got a PhD scholarship. So it's very, very possible. So for tutu, is also doable. But in Canada, I wouldn't know about the US. Yeah. I think it's also applicable in the US. But in Canada, it's you might want to consider doing a graduate certificate course that will take maybe about 9 months or one.
Isn't US? It's yeah. I think it's. I said it's different in the US because like people with tutu, like you can go directly into your PhD program. Even in the US, you don't have to do any certificate program. Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, in Canada, it's quite difficult to get. But I'm not saying it's not doable. It's possible, but you might need to maybe consider doing a kind of graduate certificate course for some months, then you can now make sure that that particular program, you make sure you give it your best shot, so that you can, that could help you to evaluate or down for your further program.
Yeah. And also for the person that asked a question about I think the person has 2-2 in undergrad, and for their masters they have a distinction, and they were asking if it's going to override. And I know Ismail said yes, for sure it's not going to override. Like, both are very, very helpful for you. You don't want to keep one, because having a distinction in masters already proves to them that, because a lot of people that even have 2-2 in undergrad and they get into their program in the US, like PhD, what they do is you have to show to the grad school that the reason why you have a 2-2 is not because you don't know what you are doing. So most of them go to write GRE or find a way to you have to prove it that you should be considered for this program, even with your 2-2, because that doesn't really define you. So having that distinction is very helpful. You should put in both results. It even supports your application a lot, and they see that, okay, actually you are qualified for this. So we'll still be taking like some questions before the next question is it possible for someone to become a surveyor in Nigeria here, graduating with HND here in Nigeria, and get PhD scholarship in USA? Is it possible?
It's possible to. I think that is 2-in-1 question. So you want to be sure if your HND you can. Am I?
Oh, okay. Yeah. The person wants to be sure if with HND you can get a PhD scholarship in the USA, but also what being a surveyor. Okay. Yeah,
in the US, I know it's very possible. Like I said, I know of someone that that had HND in chemistry, and that got a fully funded scholarship for direct PhD. Then for the surveying aspect, you can, of course, you can go through the technology route. You don't have to do your post HND or post professional diploma. Once you pass your technology exam, and start doing your college and various stuff. It's possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can.
Yeah, thank you, Ismail. Go ahead.
Okay. About the HND to direct PhD, the person that we are talking about happens to be a friend that got into the PhD stuff. She got lots of offers because she has she did ND, she had distinction, she did HND too from Federal Polytechnic in Laro, and she did West. That's what we've been saying since, like, just your West. Your West combines your ND and HND together and give it as a single document. And some schools, I'll say it again, some schools don't even want a validated transcripts, but then ask grad coordinators questions, and if they will accept because if they have, some schools will tell you that they don't even know what you are talking about. If you tell them that you have ND or HND, so what is ND, what is HND? It's not that they are actually downplaying anything, they don't know it. You have to explain to them. Even when you are filling your application, I can remember filling my application, I filled ND as associate degree because I didn't see ND amongst the list. So you need to reach out to them, and it is possible you get a straight PhD, and again, but then concentrate on strong part of your application. Find someone that did BSc, spent 5 years in school, let's say approximately. Someone that did ND and HND, did 2 years for ND, 2 years for HND, spent 4 years in school. So it's still something, and you had a lot of experience. It's also be good if you have maybe publication or something. Everything would add up. That scholar that I'm talking about, she had publication, she had some work experience too in our college in our polytechnic too. So everything summed up to help her get the PhD offer. It is possible too. Yeah, it is possible. We know a guy, Ibrahim Waziri, Zainab can remember. Ibrahim Waziri did HND too from Federal Polytechnic in Bauchi, and it had a master's scholarship in the US. Now he had a PhD, he's working for Microsoft, and he's doing fine. So it's possible.
Yeah, he's working in a very, very nice place.
Yeah.
So the question that came from Adeshola, I think I'll answer that because that was also my situation. I think the person did ND and then started university from 100 level, which is the same thing I also did. So you're asking if you should use your ND result. I would say use your ND result because for me, it strengthens your application. Like you'll be able to like add it to your CV. The only thing you just need to do is get your transcript also because for me, I put in my transcript for both schools, but eventually when you want to send your transcript, the only one that really matters is the your bachelor's. But for you, it's going to like strengthen your application because you want to put the two schools in your CV. I know you might have done some activities back in the previous school. You might have done some, it strengthens your application. So you don't want to like just discard it. It's also part of your life. The only thing is you might not need to send the transcript to the school since it is like different. It's not like direct entry. I know for people that did direct entry, I think it was different. I don't know, Ismail can say that. But for mine, I didn't have to like send it officially. I just sent my bachelor's. But I used both the and the bachelor's like the admission and everything. Like I used the results for all of my application and I put it in on my CV, my statement. I stated it that I went to this school, I did this, but I didn't have to send the transcript officially.
Okay, yeah, according to regards what Zainab just said, yeah, if you did direct entry, your transcript is going to carry that you started your program from year 2, or if you did HN direct entry, maybe you started from year 3. I could remember applying to University of Southern Mississippi, and after like they were reviewing the application, then someone reached out to me from the university and said, "Where is your 100 level result?" Because my transcript has just from year 2 to year 5 because I did direct entry to University of Lagos. So like, where's your 100 level result? Like I had to start explaining lots of shalaye to the lady that I did direct entry. This is what direct entry is called in Nigeria, and I had to like submit my transcripts for my ND because I had no 100 level results in my application. Also, like for instance, now you are considering applying to schools for maybe you had ND, you did direct entry, and you finished your bachelor's, and your colleague in your same university that did 5-year course, both of you guys applied, and you have just 4 years of studying in the university. He has 5 years. It's going to be a better candidate. But then if you have ND, that's 2 years. 2 years plus 4, that's 6 years. You are a better candidate. Something like that. So again, schools have different metrics and everything. If you use ND, according to what Zainab said, please submit your transcript if you did direct entry. If you did direct entry for HND, submit. You have 3 transcripts to submit: ND, HND, and BSc.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I think there were a couple of questions asking about job opportunities. And I don't know much about Canada. If someone like job opportunities for people in our field in Canada, maybe after their program and something like that.
Yeah, the funniest thing is even during the course of my program, I'm not during my program, I've been seeing several job alerts in the geospatial industry. So you can be rest assured that you are going to get job after your program. And one good thing about Canada is after your program, once you start working, immediately after your program, you'll be given postgraduate work permits, and depending on the length of your program, you can have up to 3 years postgraduate work permit. And once you've done maybe up to a year, you can get your PR. So you don't have to finish your 3-year postgraduate work permit before you get your PR. So, another reason why, people want to, go for Canada over some other part, maybe some other EU and some other part of the continent is, or let me say, the reason why people want to go for the North American is because of this privilege. So for job opportunity, I can assure you that the geospatial industry is fat. The request is just phenomenal. It's something that you always get openings from every sphere of the workplace. So I can assure you.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think that's the same for the US. Like, it depends on what you want, because I know we are all in different fields. It's not everybody that is a GIS analyst, but yeah, there's a lot of there are like a couple of opportunities for people with our field, especially when you discover that there's not much like surveyors here in the US. I'll speak for US, like that in our level, like in our generation, like most of the surveyors they have in the US are like elderly people. Like nobody really goes to study that anymore. And so like being here and having that experience and expertise, it's very, very like it's very, very scarce like here. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. So I think finally we'll be taking this question. Please, while working on CV, someone like us that ought to graduate in 2021 and we are yet to, do we need to put 2021 as graduated year or wise? Okay, I think this is for because of strike or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I will say that put the date on like even if you graduate, maybe you also graduate 2021 and you ended up graduating 2022, please put the right date. My case too, I did ND. ND ought to be for 2 years, right? But we started in 2013 and we started in 2011. I mean, we also graduated 2013. We graduated April 2014. Federal School Survey wrote April 2014 on our document, meaning that we did ND for like close to 3 years. So which ought to be 2 years. But then it won't hurt you anyway. Just take it there. Just put the right here because you want it to tally with your other document. Just put the right time there.
Yeah. I also graduated 2015 instead of 2014 Polytechnic. I always put 2015 and it doesn't have any impact or effect to your CV. So just put the right date that you graduated. Even though your statement of result or something, they are gonna, I don't know, they are still gonna put the exact date you graduated. So it's not gonna harm you. So currently we are supposed to have a speaker.
Let me just quickly chip in this as well. For that, at the same time, if you are working on your CV, make sure whatever you have on your CV also tallies with what you have on your LinkedIn profile. But I know of a situation whereby there was a mismatch between the dates on the dates of completion on the CV and the dates of completion of, or let me say the year rather. Yeah, the year of completion on the CV and on the LinkedIn profile, and that's actually jeopardized the person's this thing. So it's something that you want to be sure that those things are actually matching. So you don't want to have any discrepancy there.
So we are supposed to have another session at the moment, but I've just heard that currently the last speaker is not available for now. So he's not online due to some network issues, and we plan to just shift this like his own turn to like another time because we plan to have another series. So we'll just, for the next few minutes, we just take like a few questions from others that have not gotten their question answered, and then the state coordinator can give a closing remark, and then that will be all. Thank you very much, everyone. So someone is asking, for Canadian schools, does a letter from the first degree school stating the applicant was taught in English make up for IELTS? Okay, I think it's my address. Okay, he's asking for Canadian schools.
Yeah, it does. But if you are considering scholarship, because one thing about this scholarship is because they have requirements. So if you've written that your medium of instruction was English language, of course, which I did, you are shortchanging yourself in the sense that by the time they want to, not all the scholarship, by the time they might want to consider the criteria for selecting the applicants for the scholarship. That doesn't mean you are not going to get your admission, you'll be admitted. But they might want to use those criteria because if you are considering applicants, there's always a checklist for your grade. Maybe your English proficiency check, your grade check, and all those things. So now if you don't have IELTS or TOEFL, you know, it's going to be like 0 mark for the selection process. So it's always on a, you know, it's always on a, to go on a safer side, you just want to write that IELTS just for, you know, for the purpose of scholarship, like I said earlier on. But if you are doing if you are self-funded, most Canadian schools also always waive the IELTS. It's right for English-speaking country. Yeah, and coupled with the movement by Dr. Olumi and Banajobi now, most schools are, you know, waiving the IELTS for Nigerian and some other anglophone.
Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of the session today. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. So I'll just like call on the state coordinator, Surveyor Boluwatife, to give a closing remark. I don't know if she's with us.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ma. How are you doing? Good to
I'm doing
meet
good.
you.
Nice
Good to meet you. Thank you so much. Please, let's appreciate the scholarship committee for putting this wonderful webinar together. You can unmute your mic and say thank you to them and for our speakers.
Thank you, guys.
Also.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Ismail.
We appreciate
Thank you so much for really submitting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Zeta,
you, guys.
thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys. We appreciate
Many
you.
thanks,
Thank
guys.
so much.
I've done well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Really
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Say guys.
And
Say
to the
guys.
chairman of the committee too, Surveyor Jimosheri, thank you so much for putting this together. And I must say that we have actually really learned a lot this evening. And I pray that God will continue to bless you all in your studies and in your families and in all your endeavors. In Jesus' name and by God's grace too, depending on your beliefs. So thank you so much. And I hope we were all impacted this evening. And we hope to see more from you. We hope to hear from you.
Yeah.
And I want to believe most YSM members will be looking forward to reaching out to you one-on-one too, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
So we'd gladly appreciate that. So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
okay, I think I also saw a link online about Education USA. For members that are interested, I know you can do a walk-in. I've actually been a part of Education USA, I think about 3 years ago. And I have someone who was a beneficiary, you know, from the family, you know. So Education USA, they will put you through on a couple of things that they've actually spoken about this evening. They are available. They will usually tell you should start early. Your application starts early, and like they said, for the IELTS or the exams you have to write, GRE or TOEFL, if you know you want funding, they will tell you you have to write the IELTS exam. You want funding. So, but I believe that they've said a lot, and for me personally, writing those SOPs, I learned from the first speaker too in writing SOPs. And I think that's the issue we have here in this part of the world. I never liked writing essays. I chose letter writing, but later I found out that letter writing is similar to essays. So I believe I know we'll need more of your help with that particular area. So thank you so much, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, we also plan to have another session next week, and we are going to address the academic writing for the CV and also the SOP. So I think that will also be very, very
Okay. So thank you so much. So over to you.
Yeah, and also we wanted to take a picture. If anybody can turn on their camera, I know Ismail is trying to get a picture of everybody that is available. If you can just turn on your camera, he wants to get a picture. Thank you very much. Let me know when you get that.
I'm still waiting for people to turn on their cameras.
Do we need to pause?
Yeah, everyone is fine.
Zainab, you love posing.
Yeah. Is that our my chairman.
Thank you for a job well done. You guys.
Thank you very much. This
Yeah.
is our, yeah, this is our chat.
Thank you, guys.
Can I see Bro Ismail?
Ismail, you should have gotten this picture.
Yeah, give me like 1 minute more. I don't think
Maybe we should all say cheese.
Cheese. Everyone's video is not on, but it's fine. Okay, now let's take the picture. Cheese. Yeah, now I have it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Great
Bye.
job. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.